If our marriage is going to help us to be conformed to the image of Christ, I want to ask you, what is your identity in that journey? Because there are two identities that you must not assume. Identity one is the rescuer, and identity two is the bystander. The rescuer believes in uniformity, so their spouse is never good enough. The bystander believes in compatibility, which is, don't change me. The rescuer is always correcting, the bystander never corrects. Always correcting everything. You didn't put the plate right, this food wasn't cooked well, the TV was left on, the AC was this. On the bystander is, since we are all, I wanted someone that would be compatible with me. You have your flaws, me, I have my own flaws. Why is these slippers here? Like when you left the cupboard open, did I come and do anything to you? Like, how does that affect the slippers here? The rescuer is always using themselves as an example, and the bystander is unable to ever use themselves as an example. Have you ever heard, if you are married, if it's me, I will not do this thing. Where are your keys? Where are the car keys? I'm not sure where I put them. This is my problem with you, because you see, me, I'm a planner. I always put my car keys in my right pocket. Why can't you? I don't have pockets. Women don't wear just a pocket. Then hold it in your handbag. Whereas the bystander is unable to ever use themselves as an example. You're such a wonderful husband. No, I'm not. It's Jesus. They are never ever able to compliment their spouse, the rescuers. And the bystanders are never, ever able to compliment themselves. When somebody comes to their house and says something about how the house is so beautiful, how it's so well arranged, the person that did this thing, that one will come and say, yeah, so, but we thank God for the money that was brought to be able to buy all these things. They will not only not give their spouse compliments, they would always find a way of, even that compliment, the thing that the spouse deserves, they will find a way to show that underneath it, derivatively, it has to do with them. Again, the bystander likes to deflect things, likes to not take responsibility for the good, because they're avoiding taking responsibility for the bad. The rescuers are frustrated and therefore tries even harder to change the spouse. You're like, I've not tried hard enough. Maybe I have not shouted well enough. And so they start screaming more, and they start micromanaging even more. The bystander is frustrated of trying for too long, and so they just give up. I tried once or twice, I'm not doing it again, and they just give up. Question is this, for the rescuers, how often do you pray for your spouse? For the bystanders, how often do you pray for your spouse? The rescuer doesn't pray for their spouse because they believe that really they are the ultimate rescuers. It is what they say to their spouse that is meant to change them. The bystander, on the other hand, hardly prays for their spouse because they are exhausted in doing so, or they never even began trying. After all, we are compatible. What kind of change do they need? He says, for those God foreknew, He predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son. For those He predestined, He called. For those He called, He justified. For those He justified, He what? Who foreknew? Who predestined? Who called? Who justified? Who glorifies? In other words, who does all the changing? Not you. And yet, God is the one that brought you together. So there's an identity we are meant to assume. And that identity is to be a partner. You see, the rescuer believes in uniformity. You must do it my way. The bystander believes in compatibility. Don't change me. But the partner believes in conformity. Neither of us are like Jesus Christ, but with God's help, we can get there. So rather than always correcting or never corrects, the partner corrects with patience to persuade, not to vent. Knowing that it is not you who is doing the work, it is God that is doing the work, and so you are submissive to God's timing. And so you correct with love and with patience. You don't say, don't correct me. No, because you know there is a journey. This person isn't perfect. This person should get somewhere. And you don't say, I will not say anything, because God has put you there. But at the same time, you know that you are not the one ultimately doing the correcting. And so you are not the one that sets the timetable. It is God. That person will always point to Jesus as the ultimate example without shying away from using themselves occasionally. Compliment spouses at every possible opportunity for their growth in godliness. It's one thing to do good, it's another thing to be consistent in doing good. And when we do not compliment that, we are not appreciative of that person. If you are the kind of person that compliments your spouse more often than critiquing them, guess what you do? You earn the right to critique them. Spouses, for every one criticism you bring to your spouse, let it be after 9 compliments. Frustration comes when you do not get what you want and when you want it. But if you know that when the timing is up to God and not you, you are encouraged to keep playing your own part. They constantly pray for their spouse with humble knowledge that they too are in need of prayer. Let the lens of criticism focus more on yourself and less on your spouse. If you do so, you will pray for your spouse, you will pray for yourself. We too are all in need of prayer. So let's assume in our marriages, let us assume the identity of a partner. Knowing this, God has put you in that marriage to see your spouse conformed into the image of God. In eternity, there is no marriage, which means marriage serves as an instrument, a preparatory instrument for a particular destination. Play your part in your spouse's role in seeing them come to that image. Amen.